Sorry from 17 once again. This is the return to my Dark Souls 2 Crown of the Old Iron King blind playthrough. Some things have changed and I need to discuss them. The first one is I've had a nice night's sleep, so I'm no longer manic and losing my mind and failing to find words and not really functioning as a human being should, which is great. And also, the previous episode had the commentary lost because of a crash on Audacity, so this guide has, it's not a guide, sorry, this playthrough has been plagued twice now. First with my software crashing that was recording, now with the Audacity file not working. So the victory against the Fume Knight will have post-commentary on it, and I'm very sorry about that, guys. But this is the armour that you can buy off him, off of that dude, for the Fume Knights after you've beaten him. It looks pretty damn cool. Apparently the guy we were fighting was Rhyme, the person we were reading about. And if we come to his equipment, all his equipment pretty much says the same thing. It's kind of par for the course with Dark Souls 2. But there you go, Rhyme's armour is what we've got now. Armour worn by the Fume Knight. The rebel Rhyme, after his defeat at the hands of Vestat, came to Broom Tower in search of greater strength. When he found it, it came not from a regal father figure like before, but from a newfound mother who gave him true purpose. So, I assume it's pointing in the direction of... is it Nadalia, the Bride of Ash, who somehow managed to help him? And I think this looks really cool. My problems with it are, if you look at the neck, it's kind of difficult to see, but the neck doesn't fit right, and the head looks obviously quite tiny. But if you put the head piece of the armour on any other body, it looks ridiculous. It looks like Smo's head, if you remember Dark Souls 1. It just doesn't work. And then, if you look at that, look at the leggings. The leggings are straight up Artorias 2.0. They're not quite as skinny, but there is no way in hell you're going to get them to fit any of the other armours and look good, because they just kinda don't. Maybe if your character's a little bit thicker than mine, because I am on very slim, because I usually find it makes the armours fit better, it might look a little better, but for the most it looks a little rough. But I really do like the chest piece. I think the chest piece is great. The stats and the weight, debatable whether or not it's going to be, you know, top tier armour. I don't think it will be in the grand scheme of things, but I like the shoulder pads. Is it the pauldrons, I think they're called? They look pretty beastly. So look at that. I hate when you take the gloves off too. It looks so, you know, it's like it doesn't fit him right. It's like that person who oddly fitting clothes makes look even ganglier than they did before. It's kind of obnoxious. Ugh. So can we put anything else on? Oh, wow. I don't want to get too into messing around with armours to make them fit. I suppose that's the same colour as the leggings part, but even so, it's kind of diminished. Yeah, the colours on some of this is so contrasting. It's got like a silver gilding, that's got a gold gilding, so it doesn't really work. That's a completely different palette, completely. Interesting, the left one goes under the sleeve, the right one goes over it. Same with that. Who knew? Yeah, I think what I'm going to do, folks, is as much as I'd like to wear it, I can't find anything quickly that looks decent, and it'll take me ages rummaging through things because I'm incredibly picky about what I wear sometimes. Sometimes I'm not, sometimes I am. So I'm going to put on the armour that I wore to kill the boss, because I dropped the Dark Wraith top in favour of the Suspicious Shadow top, which is a top I really enjoy, and the rest was pretty much the same. Interesting, those Drake Blood gauntlets look kind of okay. They do not. So, I had the engraves on, because the engraves are pretty powerful. My leggings, I believe, were rogue leggings, because they've got that decent tear in them that makes them look a little disheveled, but not too much. And then I put the same helmet on because it covers up my twatty head. Doesn't fit too great on this particular body as my pad walks him around, but I think from behind it looks okay, which to some men that's enough. But the shoulders, yeah, really don't fit the best. The dark armour looked much better. But what I've been using I can now take this off because what I was doing last night, I say last night, it was after I'd slept, I was doing a little bit of farming to try and get some weapons. And I managed to get a few with the good old Covetous Serpent Ring. And I'm using the Dexterity Ring so that I can carry the weapon that I've started to use. This is the Fume Ultra Greatsword. Oops, wrong button. Ultra Greatsword forged from the soul of the Fume Knight. The Exile Swordsman Raim had the ability to expunge the black fog, but chose instead to live alongside it, in the company of the Child of Dark that haunts his sword. So, you're going to get to see this sword quite a lot. Have I not equipped it? No. Because I die to the boss quite a lot. He beats me up a lot. And he uses this. And because this is a strength build, I'm able to use it too with the use of that ring, because it has quite high requirements. And one thing I've not realised is some weapons have a parry on their left trigger and some have a move, and I've never been aware of that. So for this, if you press left trigger when you two-hand it, it doesn't parry, it does this. Which is a big swipe, and I didn't know weapons could do that. Its moveset is pretty standard stuff. Its R2 is the poke into the massive launcher. Running attacks and rolling attacks are what you would expect from a sword so big. Big thrust. Praying for the Leo ring. The running attack is the launcher, which is really fun. And then there's the same moveset as the... whatever the hell that is. This is the moveset that the Anvil Hammer has. So it's moves you've seen before. A little bit disappointing. Something else I figured out as well when I was messing with weapons is... I got really upset the other day because the Majestic Greatsword, which is essentially Artorias' weapon, didn't have the moveset when the moveset was in the game. And it was my mistake, folks. You have to wield it in your left hand, which I think is actually really cool. And the description of the weapon kind of suggests that as well, but I just wasn't really paying attention. But when you wield it like this, you get the spin. And then when you two-hand it, when you hold Y, to two-hand, if you press the right trigger, he does the jump. So this weapon is amazingly more interesting to me now. It's just a case of getting those ridiculous stats to use it, which I think is a little shitty. But I'm going to use this for a little while. If you notice, it's got an S scaling in strength. It's very high scaling, but it's 28 weight, so it's incredibly heavy. And the attack range on it is not as powerful as my hammers. But it's a DLC weapon, so we'll use it. And without further ado, sorry for chewing your ear off, we'll get back to the DLC. So what have you missed? I killed a boss, that's it. I did a little bit of looking around the area to try and find a smelter wedge. I couldn't find one, so I had to fight the boss with one of those idols still healing it. Which does suck, but what can you do? And when I beat the boss, I did not go into the opening or anything. I just... because the commentary was not on it, I didn't trust doing any more, and I stopped. So we're continuing from that point. Farmed these guys a little bit. All they drop is Titanite slabs, it seems like. I also sussed the trap in the Cave of the Dead wannabe place, that terrible place. It leads you to a kind of a shortcut, but you still have to fight a lot of enemies. You do get some cool items though, which is nice. Ah. And it's a quicker way to get to the boss. Crown of the Old Iron King. So it was the end. A faint heat lingers in the ancient crown. Who was this king? Like, maybe the crown explains more. Oh wow, looks interesting. Oh, I can't see myself now. Yes, that's exactly what I need you to do, camera. Kind of looks a little bit like Sauron from Lord of the Rings. So its stats are higher than the other crown. It's the same weight. Let's see what it gives us. It doesn't give us anything. What the hell is that? When did I get that? Minotaur helm. Oh, whoa! Yeah! Ah, oh no. What does that say? An ornamental helm commissioned by the old Iron King. An awkwardly repurposed iron ornament, and as such remains a stuffy, heavy thing. Wearing it gives one the sensation of being smothered in iron. I must have got that on a drop the other night and not noticed. So this crown doesn't seem to do all that much. Crown of the old Iron King who once ruled this land. The king sunk below the scorching iron, met the one whose name must never be repeated, and became Icarus. Icarus? Icarus? Earth? I'm not familiar with that word, but I will be. But these were events of long ago, and today no one even remembers the king's name. Right then, let's go and see if we can do some stuff with this crown. I wonder where you get those other wedges from. When I was looking online, a lot of people said you started with all the wedges you'd need, which is clearly not true, because I just played through this stuff and I didn't have enough. Oh, there's two. I'm not going to be able to sit at this bonfire, am I, lads? I don't think I am. I am. Hey. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Back to where it all started. But I mentioned in one of the videos yesterday that somebody would complain that the videos were too short. And they did. It wasn't much of a complaint though, so I'll let the person off. Right, so that's a throne. But does it do anything? No? No. No, it doesn't. But you know what might? Vendrick. Should we go see Vendrick? See what he has to say for himself. We've got another crown. I'm, in fact, wearing it. Hopefully he's alive. That's not right. That's it. I don't know if he has to be alive. I don't think he does. I just think you need to get to his armour. We'll soon find out. It's been a while since I've been here. I also found something here that I've never found before. If you look down there, do you see how it's lit up? There's a place down there. I fell down the other day to that altar and lit it, and there's an area with, I think, an item in it. I've been through this area 50 times plus, and I've never ever spotted that, so just goes to show, you know, there's always something to learn in these kind of games. Hopefully I don't get absolutely brutalised here, because it is New Game Plus 6, or Bonfire Intensity 6. A lot of people are sticklers for reminding you that... Ouch. Might be worth luring them out a little bit. I was hoping to roll through. My roll was denied. I still think that this corridor is one of the worst in the game. It's designed so beautifully, and then they just ruined it with that placement of those two guys that stand there and don't move. And it's funny, I've been reading a lot of the comments for this DLC. and everybody's pretty much saying the same thing, that there are some rooms in the DLC that are just ridiculous, and it's true. They're very ridiculous. Because they're like this. There's far too many enemies in a short space for no other reason than to just artificially increase difficulty. Got me again, you bastard. I know there's a leash point here, they can't come all the way in. There we go. So I believe Vendrick is unfortunately not with us anymore, but his music is. So whoever it is that plays that when you enter, incredibly punctual. So let's have a see what we've got.
Seeker of fire, I see you've subdued another foul creature. One of the father of the abyss spawn. That confounded quintessence of humanity. The abyss once had form, but then dissipated. And yet, traces of its existence endured. Each fragment, thirsting for power, spread dark with no relent. My dear Chandra was one such fragment. The feeble, tiny thing that thirsted for power more than any other. Driven by insatiable lust for a worthy vessel.
Interesting.
Fire came to be, and with it, disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, light and dark.
Interesting. The use of disparity there
Dark.
is obviously intentional.
Shadow is not cast, but born of fire. And the brighter the flame, the deeper the shadow. Inherit fire and harness the dark. Such is the calling of a true leader.
Interesting.
Dark was seen as a curse.
What does it mean?
Shadow is not cast, but born of fire.
See you later. It's the quickest way to get out, guys, if you didn't know. I don't want to smack Vendrick. I actually think he's pretty cool in spite of looking a little bit like Ian McKellen. So, we're gradually learning more and more about these fragments of darkness, these fragments of Manus, these dark children. Which, if you see, I have 11 of Nadalia's souls. I wonder if you have all of them, if you can fight her, because it seems strange for these daughters that are featuring so strongly, Ilana, Nashandra, and now Nadalia, for us not to see her, or at least fight her. So maybe she's one of the bosses that I'm missing in the DLC. But it is very, very interesting, and it's interesting coming from the perspective of Vendrick, because he knows more than anybody. He knows by his experience just how dark this tale is, and I think it's really interesting using him as that narrative angle, because he fell to darkness in some ways and never even saw it coming because of his love for his wife. So it's really interesting stuff. But we need to see what this is, because we've got a crown now, so maybe this will do something. Because if you remember, it was a suit of armour and a big old katana that looked like it was wielded by a giant. And it would seem that we have something happening, so yeah. I wonder what it means.